Good day, everyone. In this video, we will be discussing about the social action theory. But before I proceed, let me give you an introduction of what a social action theory is. Unlike structural theories, social action theories argue that people's behavior and life chances are not determined by their social background. Instead, social action theories emphasizes the role of the active individual in interactions between people in shaping personal identity and in turn the wider society. So who is the person behind this social action theory? Maximilian Karl Emil Weber was a German sociologist, historian, jurist, and political economist who is regarded among the most important theorists on the development of modern Western society. To Weber, a social action was an action carried out by an individual to which an action attached a meaning. Therefore, an action that this person does not think about is not a social action. An accidental collision of bicycle and a car is not a social action, as they are not a result of any conscious thought processed. On the other hand, a man robbing a bank has a motive of stealing the money, thus is an act of social action.
Steps of social action. First, identifying and contacting key individuals or groups. By knowing and contacting key individuals within that community, for example, barangay captains or priests, can greatly help you in gaining trust and rapport of that community, and will make gathering and communication with them much more easier. And it is also important that knowing the qualified person or groups for outsourcing in the future plans, for example, lawyers for legal services, can greatly be of help in the future. Second, get to know the people within the community. Study and be immersed by the organization or the community's history, passions, and importantly, its culture. Build a friendly relationship and talk about social issues, politics, and even personal struggles and circumstances to those individuals. We need to know or feel what it's like to be in their shoes, so to have a better grasp of the situation they are living in. Third, identifying the issues that are likely to lead the community to social action. First is to identify where they feel most likely powerless. A great example or situation I could think of is the lack of assistance or government help for those who are greatly affected by the pandemic going on right now. In recent news or recent articles or what we've seen in social media, people are taking the initiative to help those who are in need, to those who are less privileged, because the government are giving out only a number of cans of sardines and and a little kilos of rice, so dili siya enough nga mulast og week sa mga tawo nga gitagaan. So the people are taking the initiative, building, organizing community pantries to give out to those people who are struggling in lasting a day or a week. But unfortunately, the government sees this as an act of aggression towards the government. Second, knowing what their priorities that the community or organization has identified. And it is also important to lead the community to discuss within themselves the major concerns to take action. It is important that they realize the situation that they want to take action. Fourth, forming the group for a cause. Appointing a capable and qualified person as the leader or spokesperson for the group through the members of the group or community. Importante nga sila mo'y mag-desisyon kung kinsay appointing leader nila or spokesperson, para kay sila may mas kabalo sa mga tao sa palibot nila, so they know better than us nga kung kinsa ang more qualified, pero importante pod nga ato pod i-assess ang tawo nga ilang pilion to make sure nga capable siya or qualified to be the leader. Importante pod ang leader para dili libog ang mga buluhaton na mo take action o nga dili maghulat-hulat, and importante pod siya kay siya mo'y tig-appoint sa mga buluhaton for the social action. Second, building a communication system. This is also important kay importante ang magka-communicate tanan. Kailangan ay communication system para dili libog ang mga tawo and updated ang each member of that group. So unsay if example na ay absent, pwede ra siya maingnan unsay nahitabo sa mga meetings nga iyang na-missed or what are the updates of that meeting. Importante po ni siya kay there would be someone who will act as a secretary to record what happened to that meeting para ma-record unsay mga desisyon, unsay na pass, unsay nasabutan sa mga membro and the leaders of the organization or community. Third, develop their leadership skills of the individual members. Importante ni siya kay nga ato i-develop ang initiative or leadership skills sa mga members pod. For example, dili malikyan nga there will be circumstances nga wala ang leaders or heads sa grupo of that organization or community. So ato ni sila i-train nga each of themselves can be independent and could take initiative nga sa mga bulahaton as a group, nga dili noon nga maghulat og sugo or task nga ihatag para molihok ang certain plan, no? Fourth is create a structural view for their goals. And fifth, spreading the cause to other people. A great example or a great platform for spreading the cause to other people would be social media, no? Radios, TV, mga inana nga common sa mga tawo nga naagyod ang mga tawo. Planning for social action or developing a strategic plan. First is it's important to remember that the ultimate goal for the organization or the community is a long-term effect and the permanent change of the society or the problem. Second, we need to establish a shared vision and mission as an organization or as a community. Third, choosing an objective that will reflect our cause. Importante na nga dili ta mo derail sa ato ang cause, dili mo reflect ato ang binuhatan sa ato ang mission and vision. Fourth, formulating strategies to reach those objectives and ways to implement the strategies being used. For example, spreading the info, so we'll use social media for it or mga radio or TV broadcast to spread the info. Fifth, deciding what is the organization's drawing line. So example, when ta mo back out, when ang enough kay usahay it will lead to physical altercations to the government officials or even the police or other groups of people. Sixth is preparing for contingency plan. So this is also one of the, for me it's important kay sometimes dili good 100% fail proof ato ang mga plano. So it's important to have a backup plan nga kung naay absent or naay mahitabo or naay accident that will happen within the time of the activity or the rally, naara tay contingency plan or plan B nga mabuhat. Fifth, carrying out the social action. One thing that comes in our minds in hearing this part is gathering people and start marching to the city hall. But let's not forget what happens before gathering people and marching towards the city hall. For example, choosing the tentative date, time, place, and actions of our purpose. And let's not forget that our actions must be in line with our mission and vision that'll reflect for our cause. And also having the appropriate documents and permits to be able to have a rally. Importante ning kuan ang documents for the rally. No, a lot of people natoy time in the news or kuan sa GMA that a group of farmers kay garally sila without proper documentation para sa ilahang rally. Wala sila naka-adto sa City Hall to have a rally that resulted to some physical altercations with the police kay wala sila proper document kay ang effect ato kay ga kuan na noon nga traffic ang kuan ang dalan kay wala kabalo ang mga tao or kuan traffic aids nga naay magrally didto nga part. Second is preparation for the members. The members must be trained to how the people should respond in certain circumstances and how to handle situation where there might be medical cases needed while the rally is going on. Second is logistics. For examples, ang rally naman yung banner and naman yun na yung mga kailangan nga slogan, no? So there should be someone appointed for that, and important gyud tong documents nga malihok gyud for the rally to be able to go through with it. Lastly, evaluation. Evaluate what went wrong or what went right and what was lacking in the rally, and evaluate if the impact of the social action was it heard or effective or ineffective, and then plan what's the next move or what's the next mission for the community or the organization. Tools and strategies for social action. So this is the table for tools and strategies and even types of social action. So I'll be discussing in Bisaya to kuan para maklaro siya o discuss na ako and give o examples kay confusing manggod siya at first ang table. So I'll be speaking in Bisaya or in English, whichever nga masayon siya i-explain. So first is these are the different types of social action that we'll encounter: power-based, transformative, locality development or civic organizing, social planning, community building, women-centered or feminist, and consensus organizing. Yeah, diri sa kilid kay the tools or strategies used on social action: theory of change or goals, organizing or change strategy, tactics and techniques, and leadership or governance. So for example, social action on community building, and ang ato ang gamiton nga tool or strategy is theory of change or goals. So the thing ang ato ang buhaton is strengthen the social fabric or connect to outside resources. Ang great example for this nga ako mauna-unaan kay community nga bukid kay siya. So mga bata dito kay lagyo kaya doon for eskwelahan. So naka-design ang community nga mag-build sila og school with the help of private funds nga ginahatag sa mga tao ilang nakitaan nga willing to help, and even schools. For example, ang Siliman nga SOAD are one of the founding pillars sa school sa mabinay nga bukid kaayo, like tulo siya ka bukid nga kuan ang labyan para lang makaadto dito ang mga ang eskwelahan. So mupod dito ang mga bata makaadto sakay sa muadto pa sila sa proper nga city para sa school. So ang ginabuhat sa kuan sa mga ni fund kay gatapok sila, then ni gatinabangay sila build og school dito for grades 1 up to 6. So if you remember na Comso asked for all the organization and students for kuan sa ni ganing school supplies, if naka-remember pa mo na a year ago or 2 years ago, motoy actually mo gihatag sa school nga gifundan sa SOAD. So yeah. And second na kung example is social action on power based, and atong buhato ang imong gigamit kunuhay kay organizing change strategy nga strategy or tool. So organize residents to confront power structure. A great example for this is government official nga unfit sa iyahang role sa community. So if kabalo mo sa the right of recall, mao nay atong right as a Filipino people, ato ang rights nga makapatalsik ta or makapailis ta usa ka government official nga deemed nga unfit para sa tinawhan sa government nga position. So we could do a right for recall para mailisdan siya or mailisan siya sa katong lower sa position pa niya, mailisdan siya or kita mo mapili. So hopefully nakasabot ra mo sa few na akong explanation, and thank you for listening. Time for the next reporter. Thank you again.
Social action is about people having unity to help improve their lives and solve the problems that are important in their communities. It involves people giving their time and other resources for the common good. It is in a range of forms, from volunteering and community-owned services to community organizing or simple neighborly acts. In this time of pandemic, smiling at someone when you encounter them during work or when you're having a morning walk counts as a social action, because it helps to raise morale and aid in improving the mental well-being of those feeling the weight of the current circumstances. Social problems and conflicts have remained an integral part of the society. Social action is a term applied to the aspect of organized social welfare actively directed towards shaping, modifying, or maintaining the social institutions and policies that collectively constitute the social environment. Solander in 1957 states that the social action in the field of social work is a process of individual, group, or intergroup endeavor within the context of social work philosophy, knowledge, and skill. Its objective is to enhance the welfare of society through modifying social policy and the functioning of social structure, working to obtain greater progress and better services. It is therefore evident that social action has been viewed as a method of bringing about structural changes along with social legislation. Mary Richmond was the first social worker to use the word social action in 1922. She defines social action as the mass betterment through propaganda and social legislation. When do we use social action? First, to include in policy consideration the interests of those who have been traditionally ignored in this discussion, most often low incomes and minority communities. Second, to institute fairer policies and eliminate discrimination. Third, to prevent harm to the community. This might mean challenging the siting of an industrial facility because of pollution concerns, for instance. And fourth, to improve mass condition and to solve its problem, especially on health, education, and welfare. Social action theories such as Saul Alinsky, Cesar Chavez, and Martin Luther King, and other well-known 20th century organizers, emphasize the role of the active individual and interaction between people in shaping personal identity and in turn the wider society. Social action meant to empower people who have been shut out of the political or social system and help them gain control of their lives and destinies. For this reason, the iron rule of community organizing is never to do for people what they can do for themselves. In order to understand human action, we need to uncover the individual's own motive for acting. Social action is most effective when those who engage in it are those whose interests are at stake. This is a case where the iron rule definitely applies. Not only should those who engage in action stand to be affected by it, but they should be the ones who decide the action is necessary. They should understand what the possible consequences of the actions are, from compromising their cause to political backlash to physical danger, and should make the decision to whether the risks are worth the potential benefits. According to Max Weber, social action is behavior plus subject meaning plus relative meaning. It's equals to social action. So there are four major types of social action according to Max Weber. First is instrumental rational social action, which means actions that are carried out to achieve a certain goal. You do something because it leads to a result. Both goals and means are rationally chosen. Next, value rational social action. Actions that are determined by a conscious belief in the inherent value of behavior. For example, religion. So action is rational in relation to a specific value. Next, affective social action. Action is anchored on the emotion state of the actor rather than in the rational weight of means and ends. You do not think about the consequences. And lastly, the traditional social action. Actions are controlled by tradition, the way it has always been done. Reasons why people are engaging in social action. So first, it may be seen as morally necessary. Social action can be hard and unpopular. People generally engage in it because they believe that their cause is right and may see it as their moral duty to do so. Second, it can unify communities. Collective action brings people together in the way that many collaborative activities do. It creates a spirit of shared effort and shared passion and binds. Third, it can demonstrate to the larger community that the organized group is a force to be reckoned with. People have to respect and deal with the needs and interests even if they don't agree with them. Next, it may be the only thing that will move a stubborn opponent. The targets of social action may have been in power for a long time or may believe that things were simply meant to be the way they are. It may take a long campaign of action and convince them that they have to address your concerns. Next, it can motivate people to take other kinds of positive action. Once people realize that they can influence what happens in their world, they become willing to take on other kinds of tasks. For example, starting cooperatives, rehabilitating housing, cleaning up neighborhoods. They begin to understand that they have the resources to solve many of their own problems, and they can develop the motivation and skills to use those resources. Next, it can be the beginning of a process that ends in more unified, larger community. Once a group has established its strength and made clear that it can't be pushed, there is a possibility of accommodation and eventual collaboration with those who were once its opponent. Next, it can lead to long-term positive social change. Social action, like other forms of community organizing, generally has long-term as well as short-term goals. While the purpose of a particular action might be narrowly defined, the long-term goals of most organizing are greater equity and social and economic justice. A well-managed social action campaign that maintains the momentum over the long haul can result in a truly democratic society where everyone's voice counts. Once again, the prime example in our time was the civil rights movements, which through action that demonstrated the moral force, moved the whole country to demand an end to segregation and racism. Today, social action models have their roots in conflict organizing. Social action approaches assume the existence of an aggrieved or disadvantaged segment of the population that needs to be organized to make demands on the larger community for increased resources or equal treatment. The goals of social action include making fundamental changes in the community, such as redistributing resources and gaining access to decision making for marginal groups, and changing legislative mandates, policies, and practices of institutions. The answer to who should be involved in social action then is both organization and institution that include and represent the community in question, and individuals who can form groups where there are none. Social action is the collective effort it initiates to improve socio-economic conditions in the society. It is the first practical step for social change.